Welcome back to your New Agent Mastermind with me, your coach, Julie Harris. Today we're going to talk about the 6 things that cause a listing to actually sell, and in some cases, sell faster. If you can't say that you've got these things going on, you may have a listing with a problem. You also can apply all these 6 things when you're touring a property, when you're getting to know a seller and deciding how you're going to handle their listing. You're thinking in your mind, what's the probability of this selling or selling quickly? So what are those 6 things? Well, we all know price, condition, and location, but let's drill down a little bit further on that. Let's take number 1, condition. In our Premier Coaching, we talk with our coaching clients about how to stage a property, when you live in a property for sale, it's different than how you actually live in a property. You guys know this, right? But sellers generally don't. So being clutter-free isn't usually enough. Brightening up the light bulbs, turning the lights on before showings, keeping the beds made, keeping the dishes put away, all of these things, of course, you're assuming that that's happening, but is it actually happening before each and every showing? There's a lot that goes to that. We even have a seller's guide to how to set up their home in anticipation of those showings. So condition, what you're really looking for is to be as nice as a new construction model. If you're not sure what that is, walk through the model and see how it looks, see how it feels. It's decorated beautifully. The lights are on. It smells nice. There's no unidentifiable smells or anything like that, right? You want to make sure that it's in its best light. Now, some of you aren't used to doing that because the market's been hot and it didn't matter because you were the only thing available. As soon as you have even 1 or 2 listings competing with you, you better be the one that looks and smells and presents the best if you want to be the one of those 3 that sells this week. All right, number 2, location. Now, this is tough because you can't do anything about it, but if you have a location that's challenging, it backs up to a freeway, it's on a busy corner, it's in an intersection, maybe it's the first house that's in the subdivision on the way to the busy road. You can't say that that's a great location, and that varies greatly, right? If you back up to a train track, that's not fantastic. But that means that every single thing else on this list had better be near perfect. Otherwise, you're going to have to look at price to overcome the location issue. Same thing with condition, right? Number 3, if it's an active listing that you've already got, the number and frequency of showings. If you've got a ton of showings, but you don't have any offers, you're probably pretty close and just need a little price adjustment or maybe 1 more great weekend and it's going to sell. But if you have slow or no showings or diminishing showing activity, then you have to be perfect at everything else, and you have to be thinking about price, which is next on our list. Not just priced right based on the comps that you took it today, but going forward, is there new competition on the market that maybe is cleaning your clock? Is there new construction that you hadn't considered right around the corner? It's price versus the competition. So for example, let's say that you have 10 homes for sale. Some of them are in the subdivision that you're listing. Some of them are in a competing neighborhood. And maybe 1 or 2 is basically comparable, but a little further out. Your goal is to be priced at least in the lower 50% of those 10 listings. You don't want to be the highest, the lower you are for the amenities. You want a buyer to say, you know what? I didn't think I could get a 4-bedroom for that price. You are pricing your 4-bedroom like it's the most expensive 3-bedroom in that same neighborhood, for example. So it's your price versus the competition. Take your listing hat off, put your buyer's hat on, your buyer's agent hat on. If I'm going to show that property, if I'm the buyer seeing that property today, what else am I seeing and how does your listing stack up? If you have to take an afternoon to preview what's just popped up to compete with you, and especially if you didn't preview when you took the listing, you want to update your pricing knowledge and you might need to adjust that price a little bit. Point number 5, this is something that you don't always consider, but it can be the difference between getting it sold and not, and that's the seller's level of cooperation. Now, sometimes this manifests as the seller or even the listing agent putting too many requirements to even get in the home. If I can't see it except on a Saturday morning and only if the baby's not sleeping and if it's sunny outside, and then I've got to deal with a double guard gate and an alarm code, maybe that's going to be pretty hard to see. Now, it's hard to sell a property if I can't see a property, right? So sometimes it's showing restrictions. Other times, seller's level of cooperation might be kind of like what we talked about in condition. Maybe they have gone through 3 or 4 showings and, it's just too much work to vacuum the house before they got it ready and they stopped turning on the lights. And, they've got 2 man-eating dogs that have to be rounded up and caught before anybody can see it. So seller's level of cooperation, are they putting their best foot forward in order to actually get the home sold? Might need to have a conversation about that. And then number 6, last but not least, the seller's level of motivation. There's a ratio in real estate that goes like this. The higher the seller's motivation, the lower they're probably going to allow you to price it, or at least price it in such a way that it's competitive. Now, if the seller's motivation is lower, they're more likely to have conversations like, well, we'll sell it or we'll list it with you as long as we can get our price. Sometimes their price is realistic, so don't assume that they're wrong, but many times they might be practicing what we call aspirational pricing. It's just a bit too high and the market's going to reject it. So those are your 6 things that actually cause a home to sell. You can see how they interact together. For example, maybe the seller is really motivated, they're really cooperative, and you're getting a lot of showings, but it's on kind of a busy road, so the location isn't great and it needs some work, so the condition isn't perfect. After 2 weeks or 10 showings, whichever happens first, if you don't have an offer, then you need to revisit price. And these are all scripts that we talk about in Premier Coaching that we make sure that you're really astute with so that you're not uncomfortable speaking with sellers when you get into that situation, either taking the listing in the first place or maybe 2 weeks later if it hasn't sold right away. So that's just a little taste of what you get in Premier Coaching. If you like what we did on today's video, find the link below in the description to join Premier Coaching today for free. That way we can see you later in your daily semi-private coaching sessions with me or any of our certified coaches. It's every single weekday. Bring your questions, bring your challenges, learn your scripts, your presentations, follow up with your skills, upgrade everything. Shorten your learning curve. That's what we're here for. So I can't wait to see you in Premier Coaching. Again, join today for free by following that link in the description below, or simply go to members.timandjulieharris.com. I'll see you next time.
Hello, thank you for having watched this video. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right, and don't forget to hit that like button, leave your comments and questions below, and we will get right back with you.
Thank you for watching this video. Remember to watch the next one. You're going to love that one.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.